Hi everyone, Shelley from Sea Emporium. Today I want to talk to you about cigars. I don't know about you, but when I joined yachting, I had little to no knowledge on cigars or humidors. So I hope that this video can be of use to some of you out there. So first of all, the cigars need two things, humidity and temperature. They're really important for cigars, and there is a fine line. So if they have too much humidity, too much moisture, they can go moldy, and too little, they can go dry and crack and be really not good to smoke. So the way to test is to do the pinch test. So you get the cigar between your fingers, like so, and you press. It should be firm, but still have a little bit of a bounce. If it's cracking and peeling, like this cigar, it's not good and it shouldn't be served to guests. So cigars really don't last very long outside of a humidor. If they're sealed like this, they might last a week. If they're not sealed, or they're open, such as this one, maybe only a few days. So if you don't have a humidor on board, but you do have an open packet of cigars to store, make sure you put it in either a Ziploc or a plastic sealed container with a saturated sponge inside that's soaked with distilled water. And this may last for a month, sometimes even a year, depending on the way you store it or what kind of cigars, etc. But as mentioned, really the best thing to do is to invest in a humidor, especially when you're taking care of those expensive cigars for the guests on board. So I have a humidor here. And first of all, to set up the humidor, make sure you read the instructions, as all humidors are different. This one has a hygrometer, which is integrated. Some you might have to calibrate. And this is what measures the amount of humidity inside the humidor. So the optimum humidity for cigars is 65% to 72%. So first of all, you can't skip this step. You need to do this before you pop the cigars in. Set up your humidor and get the moisture levels correct inside before adding the cigars. To do this, you can either get a cloth soaked in distilled water and wipe the wood inside the box, or you can get a shot glass filled with distilled water, or again, a saturated sponge with distilled water. For both of those things, always put on a Ziploc bag so as not to stain the wood. Then you get this, which has the crystals inside, and you soak that in distilled water for 10 to 15 minutes. Pop it back inside with your shot glass or your sponge, close the lid, and you leave it for 2 to 3 days, checking every day the hygrometer to see when it gets to that 65% up to 72% humidity inside. Once it's there, then you're ready to remove the shot glass, remove the sponge, and you can place your cigars inside. Make sure they're removed out of their packaging. Try and rotate the cigars, as it means you'll get an even moisture throughout them. And also make sure you put it on your stew checklist. I know it's another thing to think about, but once a week, check the hygrometer, make sure it's at that 65% to 72% humidity. Another thing to think about is make sure you have it in a temperature of 18 to 21 degrees Celsius and not placed in direct sunlight, as this can obviously increase the temperature and end up ruining the cigars. To top up the humidity levels, if it goes below 65, you remove this, fill it up with a little bit of distilled water, pop it back in, and again, monitor the hygrometer levels and make sure you get to that 65%. Thanks so much for listening, and please contact us at Sea Emporium if we can help supply any beautiful humidors that complement your interior. Have an amazing weekend.